If I had to narrow it down to one person or event that got me started with records, I'd have to say it's probably my father. When I was very little, I guess he saw I was interested in records or music. He had a large collection of his own. He gave me a stack of promo 45s and 45s that he had played through that wasn't maybe too happy with, wasn't thrilled with, so he gave me those records. And a couple of records that, he played around the house and he knew I liked. And also gave me a series of kiddie record players that, for a couple of years, I think I ended up destroying and replacing and destroying and replacing. And eventually that became the collection I have now. I even have most of those records. Actually, no, all of those records still. How long have I been collecting vinyl? Well, it's hard to say how long. That's a good question, actually, because as far back as I can remember, I've always had records. Records that were my own, not just records that were in the house. So I don't know when it all started, but I know I've been buying records for the last 35, 36 years. I think I started buying records when I was 6 years old, around that time. I have no idea, no clue. I know it takes up a whole lot of space. I've never been able to count. At one point I had them cataloged in a computer and I was keeping a tally, but that was years ago and I had a power surge and lost all that information. So right now I have no idea how many records I have. I know I have a decent amount. Let's leave it at that. I don't limit myself to a genre. I buy everything. I am into everything. I listen to whatever. I'm open to new music and new sounds. So if it looks interesting, I'll pick it up. I was brought up on that. My dad had a very wide range of tastes. He had a very eclectic collection. So I've, in time, picked up that same habit and the same trends. I'm into everything. I buy everything from country to punk to rock to soul, of course, disco, new wave, whatever. If it sounds good, I'm buying it, and that's pretty much that. I collect everything. Anywhere and everywhere. Thrift stores, furniture stores, used furniture stores, flea markets, old bookstores back in the day, your mom and pop shops, the big chains, when there used to be big chains, guys selling records on the sidewalk, stoop sales, it doesn't matter. Anywhere there's records, flea markets, whatever, I'll find them. Well, when I was growing up, my mom wasn't too thrilled about me buying all these records. Of course, she wanted me to save money, and she always thought I was spending too much on records and always putting my allowance out. Birthday money, Christmas money, whatever, would always go to vinyl. And it annoyed her. But just because she wanted me to save money, not because she was against me collecting records. As I got older, that kind of faded away, and she understood it, and she accepted it and dealt with it. And now, I don't think anybody really thinks much of it. My wife, she's pretty cool, because there's been situations where records have found its way into every room of the house, and she's very understanding about it, for a time being. She lets it pile up. But she's okay with it. The rest of my friends, I don't think they really have an opinion about it. They're all into their own things, and they know that records and music, that's my thing. So they just roll with it. For me, I think it's going to have to be originals. I always try to go for original presses when I can, for a number of reasons. The first one being sound quality, sonic quality. A lot of reissues, you don't know where they were mastered from, what sources were used, what tapes were pulled to make reissues, if they're even legit reissues. Sometimes they're remastered from vinyl, and badly done at that. So you can't beat, in my opinion, the sound of a pristine or minty copy of an original pressing. There are some occasions where reissues will do, like in the case of a record that's extremely rare, very expensive, something that's way out of price range for now. For those, I'll go ahead and cop the reissue until I can get the original, if it comes around. if it comes down to a choice between a promo copy or a commercial stock copy, I'm always going to choose the promo copy. For a number of reasons. Number one being like the basics, the label art. A lot of times things are on white labels as opposed to stock color labels. So I love that. That's a wow factor. You also have other factors to consider, like some promos are on colored vinyl, where the stock copies are only on black. There are alternate mixes, other versions, extra songs, B-sides or whatever that weren't available on commercial versions. So those are all factors that make me go for promos. Plus, you also have the wow factor when you're collecting. You have the fact that this is something that's a limited run. It's the first set of pressings from a stamper. It was something that was only sent out to industry people, radio people, and retailers and whatnot. So it feels kind of cool to have that. You like to know that you have those in your collection. It feels good. So for a number of reasons, promos over stock copies almost always. A digging story. Okay. Couple years back, more than a couple years back actually, about 10 years ago, I was at one of my favorite spots, which is gone now, in Brooklyn, right off Pitkin Avenue. It was a old furniture shop. The top half was all used furniture and couches and whatnot, and the bottom half was a thrift store. They rented out the basement to a thrift store. So down there you have bins of old clothes and shoes and bric-a-brac and kitchenware and all that stuff and toasters and whatnot. And in the corner there's this big collection of records that they're getting rid of, and the prices were ridiculous. It was like $2 for $1 for any 12-inch or LP, and the condition varied. But anyway, I digress. So after being in this place this day for about 6 hours, my lungs are full of dust and soot, because when you're a digger, so when you go through the bins, stuff flies up and you don't have a dust mask, things happen, you inhale all that stuff, so it gets caught up. And of course your fingers get a little dusty, not a little dusty, but a lot of dusty. So my fingers were basically covered with this grayish black dust and soot that had been all over the place. So I get down to my last tub of 45s, they were all in crates and all over the place, and this was this last collection of 45s. It was in a tub, a purple Rubbermaid tub. I'll never forget it. And I started flipping through. Now my hands, and like I said, my hands were covered with dust, so they were black. It's normal, dusty fingers happens when you go through dirty records. And as I'm flipping through the records, I'm noticing that I'm leaving smudge marks on the label. My hands are dry, ashy dry. There's no reason they should leave any smudge marks. So I realized something is in this tub that's moist or that's wet, that's on these records, that's making my fingers leave these marks. So I feel it. I feel my hands. I feel the crust and stuff start to ease up on my hands and loosen up. So I'll give a smell, and it smells like urine. Now I don't know where the urine came from, but I didn't stop digging. So I kept digging, going through the whole thing, and I ended up pulling out some early JBs, some heat from Lee Dorsey, a couple of Meters original pressings. And when I'm all done and make sure I don't touch myself or anything like that and put these records aside from everything else, I see a cat walk right by in front of where the tub was. Apparently the cat was using that as a litter box. So nasty as it is, vinyl's to be had. So you go through what you got to go through to get that hot, those hot joints. Keep your mind open. Buy whatever looks interesting. Take chances on stuff you don't know. Look everywhere you go for records, because they're to be found if you just look hard enough. I think the number one thing I would say is never leave anything behind. If you want something, if you go out digging or you go record shopping, whatever, and you want something, you see it, and you tell yourself, you know what, I'm going to leave that now and I'll come back for it and find it later. Especially if it's something you really want or something that's rare and you're not sure about it, take the chance, just buy it. 10 chances to 1 when you come back, it will be gone. Somebody out there thinks just like you, is looking for the same thing you're looking for, and it will be gone, and you will kick yourself for letting that record pass you by. So, when you see it and you want it, buy it. I don't think I've ever given that much thought as to why I love music, always have, and I guess vinyl is for me, the best way to keep a piece of that, to own that, to have that in your collection. I mean, I collect CDs as well, but when you're playing a record, you have the tactile feel from manipulating the vinyl, the artwork, the look of it, the look of the record spinning on the turntable. There's a rush you get from it that you don't get from anything else, in my opinion. And there's also the thrill you get when you find that rare piece you've been looking for. So there's a lot of reasons to collect vinyl, I suppose. It all boils down to I just love it, love everything about it. I don't smoke, I don't drink, but I do have a healthy record addiction. And I'm not looking to cure it anytime soon.